With the new year coming in quick, let's take a minute to talk about New Year's resolution.
Perfect. What are some of yours, Nate?
Well, for me, the biggest thing is going to be losing weight and is taking better care of myself. One of the biggest challenges, and that is to quit smoking. If you're looking to quit smoking, we've discovered a new product called Nin pouches, which are exactly 100% tobacco-free.
100% tobacco-free, huh? How does that work? And how do those help you quit smoking?
Unlike other nicotine pouches, which are made from generic tobacco-derived nicotine, Nin pouches are made of 100% tobacco-free nicotine. Also, they're smoke-free, non-combustible, discreet, and simple. In other words, they help you provide the nicotine buzz you crave without any smoke or harmful tobacco components.
Ah, I get it. So let's say you're at the gym with the kids or out in public and can't smoke a cigarette. That's where Nin pouches come in, huh?
Exactly, Mike. Plus, they taste great and are available in 2 nicotine strengths, 3 milligrams and 6 milligrams, in 5 unique flavors: cinnamon, citrus, chill, cool mint, spearmint, and wintergreen.
That's awesome. That sounds like they provide a great solution for those looking to quit smoking. I actually have a few buddies I could recommend these to. What's the website?
I've actually got the website pulled up right here. Pretty snazzy looking site, if I say so myself. It is www.ninpouches.com. That's www.ninpouches.com. You can shop the whole selection of Nin pouches here and enjoy fast, free shipping on all orders above $40.
Perfect. That sounds awesome. I'd even try to get some of those myself.
Hey, you do you, Mike. Be sure to use our exclusive coupon code when you do that, though, at TechTime20 to save 20% off your entire order of Nin pouches. Again, that's TechTime20 to save 20% off your entire order. Just visit www.ninpouches.com. That's N-I-I-N pouches.com to shop all of your selection. And tell them Nathan sent you.
Perkies, the best backless bras and undies in the game. Rosie, the 25-year-old female founder, had enough subpar experiences with sticky bras and decided to create a better one. For those who don't know what those are, they're backless, strapless bras that stick directly to a woman's breast to give shape and support without the straps showing. Current sticky bras lose their stick after a few wears, get dirty easily, and all too often fall off when you least expect it. This is why Rosie created the only sticky bra on the market with replacement adhesives. Clean, confident, and comfortable. Perkies is the future of sticky bras. Since the launch, Perkies has added reusable covers, 3 shades of nude, and Perkies panties, seamless underwear, the softest underwear in the game, to its line. Whether it's a wedding, cocktail party, a date night, you name it, your top will typically require a non-traditional bra, and this is why Perkies has you covered. Check out these Perkies products on Perkies.com. That's Perkies.com. Perkies.com.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's going on?
Do you know the average person can sweat 463 pints per year?
Oh, that's gross. But I've totally been there, wiping my sweaty palms on my pants before shaking hands.
I can remember standing in front of a group of people about to do a large presentation and looking down and seeing those sweaty pits. Man, that is the worst.
Did you know that deodorants do nothing for sweat control? It's like putting a scented candle in your pits. And we just don't sweat under the arms.
That's right. We don't. We sweat all over. Yeah, that's what's cool about Carpe. They have not only created a revolutionary underarm antiperspirant, a lotion loaded with sweat control, Carpe also has a full line of sweat care for everywhere.
Founded by 2 guys who had sweaty palms their whole lives, Carpe was created with dermatologists and people actually diagnosed as excessive sweaters. So you know it works. Whether you want to avoid a sweaty brow, underarm stains, smelly feet, below the belt sweat, Carpe has a solution.
They sure do. And they have a full no question asked money back guarantee for the first 60 days. Not 30 days, but 60 days. Find their full line at mycarpe.com.
That's mycarpe.com, mycarpe.com. And for a limited time, use the code TechTime to save 15% on your first order. From now on, we will only sweat in the gym.
Life can get sweaty, but Carpe keeps you dry. Visit them at mycarpe.com.
Coming to you from the shores of the Pacific Northwest, keeping you up to date on technology while enjoying a little whiskey on the side. with leading-edge topics, along with special guests, to navigate technology in a segmented, stylized radio program. The information that will make you go, Pull up a seat, raise a glass with our hosts as we spend the next hour talking about technology for the common person. Welcome to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm.
Welcome to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, the show that makes you go, Technology news of the week, the show for the everyday common person with insightful segments on subjects weeks ahead of the mainstream media. I'm Nathan, and welcome to our show as we live stream in studio Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and of course our home radio station, KKNW 1150 AM. If you're not listening or watching our show on Saturday afternoons, then you're listening and watching a rebroadcast. So make sure to visit www.techtimeradio.com to keep up on all the latest information. So that means if you are watching us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, not 4 to 6 p.m., and on Sunday, you are catching a rebroadcast. Tech Time is a weekly 2-hour technology show that talks about current technology in a simple format without having to geek out. Where do you go for all of your Tech Time information? Of course, techtimeradio.com, and you can watch our streams, sign up for our newsletter, listen and watch our archives, purchase merchandise, and bid on our NFTs. We're going to be talking about NFTs on today's show, and even ask us technology questions that we could talk about on the show. Now is the time to engage us on twitch.tv/TechTimeShow, and you can interact with our stream or send us a tweet at #TechTime. You can also call us at 425-373-5527 or 188-298-KKNW, which is 188-298-5569, and be part of the show. We're going to have some, hopefully, callers in today, so it's a great opportunity now if you want to ask us questions during the second hour of our show to call us right now at 425-373-5527. All right, David, let's officially start our show.
Now on today's show.
Today on Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, we look at the first submarine to use new stealth technology 2.0 and what happened to Amazon's web service Outage, bringing companies and operations to a standstill this week. We also discovered an issue with Google's OAuth, which is an authenticating process for those multi-factor tools that you have on your phone. Essentially, it has been corrupted and can be breached. We're going to be talking about that with some of our security expert. Specifically, Nick Espinoza is joining us from Security Fanatics, and so we're going to be talking about that. And then we're going to be taking a look at Ubisoft's NFT. Ubisoft is releasing NFTs for their video game, and what a failure. We're going to be talking about what they are doing incorrectly on the NFTs. We also have top Excel experts. Do you know this? Top Excel experts. Yes, Microsoft Excel will battle it out in an esports-like competition this weekend. You know all those accounting nerds that you may know? This is for them as they have a full active competition to see who is great with Excel. We'll be talking about that.
Sounds like they're ready to rumble.
That's right. And finally, we have our pick of the day, whiskey tastings. Nathan's Nugget is going to be brought to us by StoriCoffee, and all of that's in the first hour. On their second hour, we have Tech Time's 2021 Holiday Gift Guide, the best technology items for your Christmas wish list and open phone calls. We have a Technology Insider with items you need to do before the end of the year. And finally, we will have This Week in Technology segment and a few breakout new articles. Welcome to Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm, the show that makes you go, technology news for December 11th through the 17th, 2021. Now it's time to welcome my co-host. Now, my co-host should be Mr. Gourdet, but Mike Gourdet is on his honeymoon still.
Congratulations, Mike, by the way. Yay,
yes,
good job.
Good
Woo,
job.
cut.
Congratulations. Mr. Gourdet is on his honeymoon. Last week we were both not on the show because I was actually his best man in his wedding. So I got to do a speech about him, which was pretty exciting. And so this week we have brought in a special guest. His name is Corey Williams, and Corey and I met about a year ago. He had a product called Vivomi the Pulse, and now he is the CEO, founder of PrizeBox. We had him in here, was it 2 weeks ago? I think it was 2 weeks ago for an interview. And so since I was last minute running around trying to get a host, we decided to have him on the show. So he is going to be helping us today through all of our segments and everything we do. Now, Corey, What we start the show with is we always start it with our loaded question of the week, brought to us by Elderberry Boost. Get your Elderberry Boost today at elderberry-boost.com. And here is our loaded question for you. What is something you always do incorrectly?
Oh, man. Now, if my wife was sitting here, she would be the better person to answer this question. But I would say that I do pretty much everything wrong when it comes to the kitchen. I'm not a really great cook, a bake. They have different things that they do in there. I am not that good.
Okay.
So I'm really bad at baking things.
Really bad at baking things.
Yeah.
How about a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Can you do a pretty killer one of those?
I'm told I do that wrong because I put too much on it.
You put too much on it?
But that's still, I mean.
So food things are okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm not going to say what I do incorrectly because I have a huge list of things that I would probably do incorrectly after being married for almost 30 years. So, all right. So, well, welcome to our show. So this is going to be fun. Jump in at any time.
Sure.
So that you have, Mr. Gourdet likes to take shots at me. So I want to make sure you feel the same opportunity. If there's a little jab you can do, absolutely.
And please do, because that's part of the show. Please do.
That's right. Okay. And David, I'm so glad to be back in the studio with you guys. I missed you guys last week. I was actually listening and streaming some of you guys as I was doing that too. But that's great.
At the reception from what we heard.
Yes, absolutely. Because you know what? Everybody wants to listen to TechTime Radio. All right. Well, Corey, as we have our whiskey tastings during the commercials, we've selected a whiskey today, which is our Warrior Sugar Baby Bourbon. We will taste this during the segments, and when we come on back, we'll talk a little bit about it. We'll give it like thumbs up, thumbs down at the very end of the show, so you're going to sip that. So I'll help you through that.
Good.
Help you through that process. We'll see if it's a 0, 1, or 2 thumbs up in our pick of the day. Now, let's get our episode started with our first segment, which we call Top Stories in the First 5 Minutes. This brings you the top technology stories everyone will be talking about for weeks to come within the first 5 minutes of the show.
What's happening in the world of technology? This is our top stories in the first 5 minutes.
All right, welcome to Top Stories in the First 5 Minutes. Story number 1. Amazon Web Service outage brings some delivery operations to a standstill. Let's listen to our ABC correspondent specifically on the Amazon outage.
That massive Amazon server outage temporarily crippling some of the world's most popular online services. Those outages apparently affecting streaming services like Netflix, Roku, and Disney Plus, owned by the parent company of ABC, but also airlines like Southwest and Delta, even McDonald's and the video game company behind Fortnite.
All right, so Amazon Web Services. Now,
this was bigger than just that, though.
It was. So now your software, PrizeBox, is a cloud-based service app, right?
Correct.
Okay, so this outage was huge. This hit the delivery services of Amazon to the point where they couldn't even deliver packages for up to 8 hours during this outage, and they're now
that's a major issue.
And that's like 2 days behind now. So with the holiday season, they're 2 days behind.
Well, it hit also schools, and my kids do remote learning and things, and so it was definitely...
Yeah, it hit the university too. My daughter was getting ready for finals last week, and all of a sudden she couldn't access the Canvas page. I'm like, perfect timing for that.
Exactly.
So it was the U.S. East 1 region server outage that was happening. The outage brought down popular service also like Disney Plus, Coinbase, which is again a big deal for NFT, or not for NFTs, but for cryptocurrencies. With critical tools, Amazon was not able to have things working. Now it's very interesting because Larry Ellison, big Oracle guy, right? So he's like the creator of Oracle. Larry Ellison immediately came on out and said Oracle's cloud services boasted that it has never, ever gone down after Amazon's crippling AWS outage.
Wow.
Now, I looked to see, I'm like, okay, come on, Oracle. I'm sure you're probably down. And I cannot find anywhere that I looked any outages ever that has been a part of Oracle's cloud
Have you ever heard of them in the headlines for anything like that? I don't think I can remember it.
And so, you know what? So I went back and I was looking and I'm looking. So I actually believe they may actually have a cloud service. He didn't get into tons of details. He was just kind of poking fun of Amazon. But this is really big because people rely on Amazon services, right? Netflix was down. Disney Plus was down. All these large companies that use this. And essentially, Amazon just says, yeah, we're sorry. and nothing happens, and essentially you're dependent upon those services, I guess you just go down with them too and say, sorry, Amazon's down.
Yeah, that's one of the struggles that they have with everything so centralized with their services, And it's interesting how many different private and public sector, projects and companies are using them. So when they go down, so much of what we use every day goes down with them. But it's the other thing that's interesting is Larry isn't one to post a lot of things that is taking shots. So I think he backs up his words.
I think he did too. I think that was really kind of a cross saying, hey, you know what? You should probably be doing a little bit better with your architecture because you don't necessarily have to be down if you have redundancy created correctly. We're going to be actually talking a little bit more about this in our second segment when we have Nick Espinoza on, specifically some of our dependencies that we're relying upon and what hackers can do and security outages that can happen with that. Story number 2. The first submarine to use new stealth technology 2.0. Now, I went down a rabbit hole finding out information about this. I love this. And this is the best part about TechTime Radio is finding the information out there that maybe somebody else hasn't talked about yet.
Yeah.
Doing the research, finding out exactly what's happening during this. And the Royal Navy's new Dreadnought-class submarine promises to be the stealthiest yet. The first 2 boats, HMS Dreadnought and the HMS Valiant, are already under construction. They are destined to take over Britain's nuclear deterrence for 2030, and they incorporate significant changes in designs compared to other types. So, no, there's not a lot of information because it's new stealth technology. They don't want to say exactly what it does.
Yeah.
But they're saying in the article, when you go through and read a little bit more about it, that you can be within 30 feet away of the submarine, and they have anti-technology that will make it seem like you are shooting through if you're like 30 feet away and trying to see if there's a submarine there with sonar and with radar that will actually still give you a feedback that it's open space and there's nothing there. So
that's incredible.
It is. And you know what? I kind of like, I remember when the stealth bombers came out and it was a brand new technology. So this is something that the Royal Navy is going to be first of its class to have this type of information. And even the United States is a little bit behind on some of their technologies that they have regarding this. All right, story number 3. Top Excel experts will battle out in an esports-like competition this weekend. I had no idea that there was a competition. Thanks, David. So move over, League of Legends. Does anyone even care about Overwatch? No, the real future of esports is spreadsheets and Microsoft Excel.
This is awesome. This is really actually
Yeah, don't believe
cool.
us? Then turn to ESPN3 or YouTube this weekend to watch. They are broadcasting this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, on ESPN3, the competition of Excel spreadsheet individuals. Now, you know what? Sometimes you see cornhole on there, you see poker on there, but when you turn on this weekend, you're going to be seeing people that are sitting on down in the Financial Modeling World Cup that will be held entirely in Microsoft Excel. The finals, quarterfinals, and semifinals matches will all be televised. The broadcast will happen at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Sunday, and they're playing for a total prize of $10,000 funded by Microsoft, of course.
Well, it's going to be. Oh, I'm sorry. It's going to be interesting to see how they make this exciting to watch.
So they're essentially, essentially what they're doing is each round the contestants receive problems that are between 1 to 5 pages long of questions, and they have to fill them out with Excel formulas to answer each of those items. Now,
that's great.
How is that exciting to look at? Are you seeing somebody creating like a gazillion and a half pivot tables and doing this and doing that, and you're like, oh man, I just want to be like that person? Or I mean, I don't know how you get the excitement of this, but it has over 128 participants from every region of the world, and essentially right now, if you're Early Days Consulting, you have the number 1 player in the world. And only to be followed up by Think Matrix employees. So essentially they have employees.
Wow.
They have rankings of employees, and they go through and they create. And you know what? Excel gurus can deconstruct and solve problems from scratch. I really appreciate them. I have a hard enough time just getting all the windows to make the borders around each of the items when I try to put together my stuff. So
Makes you wonder who's doing play-by-play and color commentary for that.
Yeah, what are you going to say? Oh, look at him. The way he moved his mouse over there, and he hit the function key ahead of the other competitor.
All fingers with that function.
That's right. Look at that. So there you go. If you want to check it out, Excel Gurus, this is your time. All right. Story number 4, pandemic tech tools raise risk of everyday tracking. We're going to be very brief on this because we're going to talk a little bit about this. But essentially, a new report group says digital contact tracing apps, artificial intelligence, and other tools that European governments rolled out to combat COVID-19 failed to play a key role in solving the pandemic and now threaten to make such monitoring widely accepted. Authorities are scrambling to develop new technologies during the COVID outbreak. And essentially, they created passports and to verify people have received COVID-19 shots. But now these companies are using automated decision-making technology, which reduces the complex social media skills and essentially is being used to track individuals. The public says that they're concerned about their personal health, but most of all, being tracked and having untested technology being a main focus that will be able to track them around the world. So what's your thinking on that? I mean, being in software, I mean, there's a lot of tracking stuff right now, right?
This can be pretty scary. You know, the amount of effort that they can go to find out where you've been or where you're residing or where you plan to be. Even, I mean, it looks back, it looks present, it looks future. You know, I actually look at these things and I go, well, they obviously have it. They can do it. So let's try to find some missing kids, you know, or some trafficked people.
So actually do it so they can actually use it for the good of thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you can do it, let's go do it all the way.
Well, I tell you, my wife can track me out just because I have an iPhone, right? So she can tell me, she's like, where are you at? Oh, I'm about 15 minutes from home. No, you're not. You're about like 32 minutes from home. Okay, yeah, you're right. All right. Well, Corey, our time is up. We got through our top stories. If you want to learn more about these stories, please visit us online at techtimeradio.com. Click on our episode section or the blog to get more details on the stories and features that we had on today's show. Now it's time to get ready for our whiskey tasting at the break. But up next, we have Ask the Expert segment with our esteemed guest, Nick Espinoza from Security Fanatics, as we have a few issues to look into regarding the Amazon service being down for a few hours this week that affected Netflix, Disney+, Ring Central Home items. Maybe he can give us his opinion on tracking apps, as we just discussed in the top stories. And then, how do you stop cyber attacks and phishing? Well, why don't you come on back? We're going to talk to Nick after the commercial break, and we'll all see you here as a part of TechTime Radio.
Hi, I'm Nathan Mumm, host of TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm on KKNW. TechTime Radio's live show is Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m., and you can always check us on the web at techtimeradio.com. Our segmented stylized radio gives you the breaking news before it hits mainstream media. Join myself and Mike Corday as we'll make you laugh.
That's good. So, Hooked on Phonics worked for you, didn't it?
It did, just a little bit.
And learning something new in technology. Join us Saturdays, 4 to 6 p.m., and Thursdays from 6 to 7 a.m. The technology show for the everyday common person.
Hi, this is Lisa Downs, host of Reigniting You, the show that takes a positive, forward-looking approach to mid to late career transitions for Gen Xers and Boomers every Wednesday afternoon at 3 o'clock Pacific. Whether you're looking to stay in the traditional workforce, do your own thing, or to retire or semi-retire, Reigniting You is your source for career transition advice, inspiration, and insight for what's next in your career and life. Join me Wednesdays at 3 o'clock to get re-energized, recharged, and reignited.
All right, welcome back to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. We just had our first whiskey tasting. Corey, during the break, we got to sample our whiskey pick, and our whiskey is the Warrior Sugar Baby Bourbon. Washington's Warrior Sugar Baby Whiskey is a Pacific Northwest barrel-aged bourbon blended with care along with brown sugar and cinnamon recipe, packed with flavor, depth, and color for a long-lasting finish. It's 80 proof, and it's only $19 a bottle. This is a Wines & More special I grabbed off the shelf. But what do you think?
Well, I am probably not the best connoisseur of these type of things because I'm not a big alcohol guy. I just don't. I haven't gotten into it. You know, I'm mid-40s now, and I really don't have a lot of experience with the alcohol. But this didn't taste bad.
It didn't taste bad.
Yeah, normally I want to spit and when I taste anything, but this stuff actually tasted pretty good.
It does have a really nice sweet taste. So this is not a great. This is a great dessert whiskey, right?
It doesn't taste like fuel.
It doesn't taste like fuel. It's not burning when it goes down. It's a little sweet, and it's got that.
It's for kids like me.
Okay, well, we're going to try to keep it that way so that you enjoy the whiskey itself. All right, well, we're now going to continue on with our show with our special guest, Nick Espinoza. We're excited to welcome Nick back and start our next segment.
This is a segment we call Ask the Experts.
All right. I know we're bringing Nick up on the phone. There we go. Perfect on the screen. Nick, how are we doing today?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good. Are you drinking some whiskey there?
Yeah, I am indeed. I've got my old standby this time. Unlike Corey, I'm a little bit into this. But Corey, if you need a good kitchen tip, I've got an excellent recipe for ice cubes I can send you. So
beautiful.
Let me know.
Thank you.
You can't mess up.
Can't mess that up.
Maybe you can.
Put them
you know
in the
what?
fridge?
Okay, let me just tell you, Nick. That's not correct because I used to fill ice cubes for my wife back into the freezer. And I would overfill them. And then when you overfill them, then it was completely wrong because when I would go to crack them, they would have that topper layer of it that you don't get out, so you don't get the perfect size of the ice cube. So I can tell you, I can even screw up ice cubes filling them up with too much water.
So pro tip on that, if you liked iced coffee, make coffee ice cubes for your iced coffee so you don't water down your coffee.
Pro tip. Oh, that is a pro
really
tip.
Good.
You know, you only get that here on TechTime Radio. If you want coffee information, we got it taken care of. All right, well, welcome to our show. We got lots of questions. First is Amazon outage. Dependency on so many people with so few providers. Larry Ellison's comment about Oracle in their first segment we just talked about came in, and I really looked. I don't know if you looked at it and had a chance to see if Oracle has ever been down. Now, I do know Oracle products. I'm familiar with a product called NetSuite, and it may not ever go down, but it sure doesn't run very quickly. So let me just tell you that way. It's not very, but I couldn't find anything about that. What do you know about the Amazon outage? Give us a little update on what we got. That kind of, let's talk about why people are dependent upon such few areas. And did you find anything regarding Larry Ellison's comment?
Yeah, so I'm gonna pair what you said. I did a quick look and I couldn't find any outage of an Oracle product. That said, I'm surprised Larry Ellison would kind of run his mouth in that way, because as soon as he says that, there's a legion of hackers out there being like, really? Game on.
Yep.
So I think he just might have shot himself in the foot sooner than later. But to that point, everything went down with Amazon, and this isn't the first time. They've had outages like this before. The last one was in November of 2020 when, about literally like a year ago or so, half the Eastern Seaboard or half the United States went down on the Eastern Seaboard. And it's everything from like your Roomba doesn't properly function because it can't phone home. Doorbell cameras, Ring Doorbell and others are backbone on AWS stopped working, not to mention every streaming thing. The Associated Press couldn't publish the news for a while, and obviously they were losing billions of dollars an hour. But Amazon is notoriously keeps their cards to their chest and really doesn't explain exactly what's going on. They told us right now that essentially what they have is an automated capacity scaling issue that led to a quote-unquote unexpected behavior on their back end. And so they temporarily disabled that feature, and they say there's going to be a fix in 2 weeks for this for now. And essentially, that's all we're going to know. But it really underscores the point, I think, that when you're looking at essentially the infrastructure that we use, that essentially everybody is backboned on, we lose a huge amount of functionality simply by having one of them go down. And if you think about the original concept of the internet, I actually did a podcast and video on this the other day, is the internet itself is confederated, meaning I can throw up a server and put up my own web page and host my own stuff. But as we've seen this massive consolidation to the cloud, which is essentially somebody else's computer, in the Amazon's case, it's millions of their computers. When we are all moving from, let's see, hosting our own infrastructure capability to the Amazons, the Microsofts, the IBMs, the Googles of the world, we're putting all of our digital eggs in one basket collectively around the globe. And when one of them goes out, it is felt. I think this also underscores, too, that a lot of companies, even massive ones, don't have good contingency planning. And it's one of the things that I talk to when I'm talking with my larger clients is like, well, great, you're hosting on Amazon. Why aren't you replicating that over to Microsoft? So if Amazon goes out, Microsoft kicks in, or vice versa, or pick your backup provider. These things are not really looked at or cost calculated because oftentimes they can be prohibitively expensive for an organization. And I think that's another challenge we have to have here.
Yeah, you know what? I do work at a company, and I gave consulting advice to another company, and they actually ended up having AWS and Google's platform as a backup. and they actually have had some problems with AWS, and they immediately switched on over, and they had their DNS rerouted into the Google server. Their web service came back up, their email came back up, and they were fully functional. And I don't think people do that when they do an evaluation of price points, right? They say, okay, well, how much is it going to cost for one cloud service? Well, I expect the cloud service will never be down. They're always being replicated, so I'll just trust that and see what happens.
Exactly. And essentially, by using one cloud, it's a single point of failure. And a lot of organizations don't realize, too, is that, okay, you may have all of your infrastructure sitting and backed up, let's say, on another service, but you're not incurring the massive amount of charges that you are on your primary. This is literally why things like content delivery networks exist. So if one goes down, it immediately routes you to the backup, so you continue to maintain that. I mean, how much money collectively around the world, did corporations lose when Amazon goes out for even an hour?
Yep.
It's a revenue stopping event. It's a massive, massive thing. Facebook went down internally and they were losing $1 billion an hour. And that's a drop in the bucket compared to what Amazon is. So it's a huge issue that we've got.
They literally had people on the Amazon's service floors to essentially produce the packaging that you get into the delivery drivers, and then the delivery drivers taken on out. They were literally just sitting down and doing nothing on the floors of Amazon because their services and their check-in services and their handheld devices were all at a standstill, and they had to stop everything they did. So that's big time during the holiday season. I'm sure Amazon during any day it's a big time, but during the holiday season even bigger. All right, let's talk. So, I'm going to now be all over Oracle, and if the first time Oracle gets hacked in this next 2 or 3 weeks, I will immediately make sure to put it on the show, and we'll talk about it.
I didn't do it, for the record.
Okay, you won't be doing it. I will, because that was a very interesting comment to say. I don't know if it was a tongue-in-cheek comment, but it got a lot of play. And let me just tell you, I know that Oracle even ran with that a little bit themselves, saying, you know what, our network is fantastic. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, Oracle is also losing right now to Amazon.
Correct. So it makes sense.
All of them are.
Right. Might as well poke them in the eye.
All right, so let's talk about Twitter's new anti-doxing policy to get legitimate extreme tracking accounts suspended. Twitter's new policy enables the company to determine whether images are publicly available, being covered by journalists, or adding to the public's disclosure. Twitter is reviewing a controversial policy that penalizes users who share images of other users without their consent. So explain that a little bit to us.
Yeah, so this actually was a really, really noble thing that Twitter was trying to do. They were actually trying to correct essentially anti-doxing. Now, if you're not familiar with what doxing is, it's basically against your will, somebody's putting out things like your home address, your phone number, all these kinds of things that essentially can get you into trouble. I love to say that Twitter is where civility goes to die, and this kind of underscores that. They are trying to combat that. The problem is that as much as that's good, and the exception to that, for the record, was public images, was public things. So if you're at a public event and you have an image of yourself at that public event out there, Twitter leaves that alone. But personal and private pictures of yourself that get put out there are an issue. Now, here's the thing. Twitter is essentially an open platform. Anybody can use it, providing you're not violating their terms of services. This is now one of those things. And so there are a lot of extremists out there, or domestic violent extremists. We're talking like the neo-Nazis of the world. And so by virtue of that, the flip side is there's a lot of activists out there and activist groups that are looking to tag these people as essentially that, meaning, let's take the hood off the Klan member and expose them for whatever reason. Now, what ended up happening was a lot of these just extremists, these violent extremists, decided to get together and coordinate on their new platform of choice, which is Telegram, and basically say, hey, we are being doxxed. And so they flooded Twitter with requests saying, hey, I'm on this Twitter account, basically put my picture out there against my will, take it down. And Twitter, essentially in an automated fashion, was accepting that and then shutting off the actual activists that were tracking the extremists. And so that's essentially what it is. And Twitter basically said that a number of accounts, and in their verbiage, was essentially mistakenly put suspended due to what they called coordinated malicious reports. Right. And so by virtue of that, there was at least one person that submitted 50 in a day, not necessarily of himself. This was an extremist, on one of these essentially extremist watch accounts and essentially got them banned. And so Twitter is going back and they're rethinking that. And now they're essentially doing this, saying, well, we're going to review individually to understand that some of these accounts may actually have personal pictures of somebody, but it's in the public interest to actually identify extremists so that it's easier for law enforcement and all of that. And one of the things when I was talking about this earlier this week was that this is going to make it much harder to actually track those people that would actually commit crime or violence in the name of their cause. And that's the balance that Twitter is trying to make right now.
I got you. You know what, though? I'd say, Jack, and Twitter, of all the social media apps out there right now, I think Twitter is probably my preferred social media app. If I'm going to share stuff, they're going to know what's going on. At least I have to subscribe to somebody. At least I have to be interested in the person. I don't have to necessarily always get it just fed to me. So I know that Twitter has kind of been up and down. I'm kind of now on the wave up using Twitter right now. The Twitter and another app that we'll talk about a little bit later in the show here, TikTok too. TikTok and Twitter are my two top apps that I use right now.
Oh man, see, I'm LinkedIn.
Are you LinkedIn? Are you big?
Oh, I love LinkedIn.
Okay, I like LinkedIn too. The only trouble is I get hit with LinkedIn with all the fake spam bots that are out there, right? I mean, I get so many people trying to, I got something to sell you, I got something this, I got something this, that literally I have to go through, and I get about 50 to 100 of these in a week and go and say, no, I don't want to connect with you, no, I don't want to connect with you, no, I don't want to connect with you. Yeah. So it's become an unpopulated process of trying to get leads and trying to get sales, and I just must be on the list of everybody who wants to try to connect with me about incorrect information. So I've kind of slowed down on actually my LinkedIn items there. Okay, well, we're going to have to take a break here, Nick. So when we come back, we're going to be talking about attacks on authentication applications. Essentially, I have a phone and I have a Google app, right? So when I want to log into some banking information, I have to log in and I have to use this authenticator app that essentially allows me to have access to give a 6-digit code so I can access the information. But there's some encryption items that have been compromised on this. And I'm going to ask you about phishing. Essentially, I'm going to be not talking about fishing with a line and some bait where you go out with your father in the Saturday afternoon and you're trying to grab something, but actual fishing specifically for the holiday season, because I have seen some great fishing items that have come across my desk. I've seen ones that said, hey, you know what? I have a appointment to do a calendar event where I needed to schedule a calendar event in Google. And guess what? It looked so real that I almost clicked on it. And I'm like, well, I don't know if this is exactly there or not. So we want to protect ourselves during the holidays. We're going to take a break. And when we come on back, those are up for you. I'm Nathan Mumm. We got Corey Williams as my co-host. Please join us after this break.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, have you heard of Unidragon?
Are you serious? Of course I know who Unidragon is. That's the puzzle dude.
The true wooden puzzle company that you can get for all of your holiday shopping.
Get the owl.
If you could have one puzzle underneath the tree for Christmas or the holiday season, what would it be, Mike?
It would be a Unidragon puzzle.
That's right. And which Unidragon puzzle would it be for your household?
The owl.
Only get your true puzzle from Unidragon.com. They're the best, and they're the world's leader in wooden puzzles.
Tech Time listeners, use promo code DRAGONTECH. Again, that's DRAGONTECH for a 10% discount code.
Now's the time to go to Unidragon.com. Again, that's Unidragon.com. Don't be fooled by other imitation puzzle makers. Only get your true puzzle from Unidragon.com. They're the best, and they're the world's leader in wooden puzzles. They're no longer 3 sizes, Mike. Guess how many there are now?
They're 4 sizes.
That's right. They're 4 sizes.
Make sure to visit techtimeradio.com/sponsors and click on the Order Now button to go directly to Unidragon.
Our number one sponsor says thank you.
All right, welcome back to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. Corey, how was that whiskey during that break?
Warmed me up.
It warms you up?
Me right up.
Nothing about like a little bit of nice warm whiskey for the holiday season. That's right. Well, now that we got our drinks out of the way, Nick, we're coming right back to you. Thank you for joining us last segment. We talked about some great items. Now let's get down to the everyday common person questions that use application, specifically authentication applications. Microsoft and Google's OAuth flaws can be abused in phishing attacks. Researchers have discovered a set of previously unknown methods to launch a URL redirection attack. Again, that's essentially a web link that you get, a URL, is the link that you get to have an attack against weak authentication implementation. Explain this to us.
Yeah, so OAuth is one of those things that it's known as, essentially, just if I'm using layman's terms, is an SSO platform. And let me explain SSO in a minute here. This is essentially single sign-on. So as part of a greater identity management solution, when you have an authenticator that is connected to SSO, when you log into one, let's say, application or one cloud thing, essentially you get a token, a security token that allows you access into everything else that is connected to that ecosystem. So above and beyond just the standard two-factor authentication, when you're logging into, let's say, one website and you use your username and password and it prompts you for a 6-digit code, which Nathan, you were talking about as well. That's, another one of those things. Something like OAuth allows you essentially to connect multiple websites and you're logging into one place. That actually ends up being more secure in the long term, because let's say you have a compromise of a user for your business or even just yourself. What ends up happening is you can shut off that user via an OAuth or the identity management platform, and it cuts them off of everything, not just the individual sites. So when one of these basically has a vulnerability and is able to be used for an attack, it's a huge, huge thing. Now, Proofpoint, actually, they're a spam filtering company, they're a research company, is actually the one that found this and discovered this and alerted basically the various entities for this. But there was essentially a URL redirection campaign that was targeting things like Outlook Web Access for Office 365. It was targeting PayPal, Google Workspace, all these things. So what would happen is it would look like a legitimate request. And because you are successfully logging in to one of your platforms, meaning let's say you're logging into Google Workspace, but you also have Microsoft Office 365 and you've also got PayPal, once you've logged into Google, you're logged into everything. And so what was happening is, instead of going to a legitimate site like from Google to Microsoft, it was redirecting you wherever the attackers wanted to redirect you. And what was most damaging, this is the core of the issue here, is that because you are trusting the security that OAuth is giving you when you're logging into that Google Workspace and then clicking the link to go somewhere else, you're automatically assuming where you're going is 100% legitimate because you've been authenticated through your security system into the platform. So that fake Office 365 page that you're going to where you're giving your credentials away is going to look exactly actually like Office 365, and you think it's legitimate because you've already been authenticated. And so it's a huge problem. Obviously, the big platforms are aware of this right now, and they're looking to correct this. But I also should point out that this doesn't negate the fact that in the long run and overall, as I've said before, you want to have multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication in your life. You want to have identity management and single sign-on. Ultimately, they are vastly more secure than just a standard login.
They are. And so this breach is one of many that will happen out there as software always gets developed and people take a look and try to exploit it. Right. But it doesn't mean that you should change your processes. You should always use dual-factor authentication. You should always have that additional login password. So when something like this does go bad, it's very, early noticeable in the community itself, so that you can get patched and fixed up so that very few people are hit. Whereas if you just have phishing emails, which we're going to next, and you have different logons. Let's talk about phishing emails, right? So that's like the big thing that happens. Right now during the holidays, I have never seen my inbox fill up with phishing emails like it has, and they're getting pretty sophisticated in this. So I have stuff that's coming in that looks like it came from a friend of mine. It's got their email address. It knows that we last communicated 2 or 3 days ago. So I don't know where they're getting the information. Hey, based on our last conversation, Nathan, we would like you to do this, 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 and this. Now, it probably doesn't help that I have a letter segment. I click on every spam email link to go through in my letter segment. That probably doesn't give me any additional help there. But let's talk about phishing emails specifically for the holiday season, right? People are looking for deals. People are looking for great opportunities. And then there's a whole bunch of information that's out there. Explain to us what phishing is for the everyday common person, and give an example or two of a phishing email maybe that you've seen in the last week or so to talk about.
Sure. Absolutely. And for the record, Nathan, if your inbox is being filled with spam, I think you need a better spam filter.
Well, see, you know what happens is I used to have a spam filter, but then I did my letter segment, and I wanted to make sure I could click on everything. So my poor Hotmail account is now just trashed. I cannot use my Nathan Mumm at hotmail.com. You can send me whatever you want now, guys. It's just trash. So it doesn't do any good there. Yeah, it's gone.
Fair enough.
Yeah. All right.
Fair enough. Yeah. So yeah, if we're getting back to the topic at hand, as you mentioned, phishing in and of itself is simply this. Somebody is sending you something or trying to get you to go somewhere that looks legitimate but is actually fake. It can get you infected. You can give up personally identifiable information such as usernames and passwords, addresses, anything that I might be able to run either a login scam on or identity theft scam on. These kinds of things have been prolific. And with the exception of COVID-19, which was the single greatest phishing event that we've ever seen in cybersecurity, where every criminal on the planet was essentially using COVID-19 as a lure, one of the big times every single year is the holiday season, and rightfully so. To Nathan's point, we're all looking for deals. The first wave usually comes in the lead up to Black Friday to say, oh, click here for that 80% off TV, or the car that you want, or whatever that is. We see these things constantly, and by virtue of that, we also see a ramp up of attacks on actual email accounts. So if Nathan's getting something that looks like and is from his friend, and it says, oh yeah, last week we talked about whatever it is we talked about, that usually means or can mean that somebody has been compromised, is going through the address book and saying, oh Nathan, oh he's public, let's go hit him. And now they've got all of the history. This is also how business email compromise scams work as well. Phishing takes many different forms. The number one thing that we know about is email. Email is obviously a big one, but it's also fake forms online. And there's also spear phishing, which is impersonation of people, like Nathan was talking about, which is very more focused and all that. We see that in business a lot. But during this holiday season, you're going to see everything from fake Amazon gift cards to fake Best Buy gift cards to fake name your retailer gift cards to fake deals at all of said retailers, or click here for 80% off and free shipping, or any one of these things, or even phishing emails that will alert you to the sense of urgency that you need. So we actually had one that was forwarded to us saying, like, I clicked something, what's going on here? And it actually looked like a big box retail store that officially from them saying, well, we're down to only 50 televisions right now. Due to supply chain issues, please buy immediately if you're buying a television, or else we're done. And that's the flip that we've started to see in phishing now, because we're going through a global supply chain delivery situation. We're starting to see ramp ups of a sense of urgency in the phishing email to simply buy now, buy now, buy now. You won't get it in time for Christmas, or we're running out because it's sitting on a boat docked in San Diego, somewhere, and we're not going to get it in time. And so by virtue of that, it's designed to instill a sense of, oh my God, I'm totally going to miss out on something, in for Christmas or whatever you celebrate. And so here we are. So that's essentially, it's the name of the game. It's holiday seasons, which means the scammers are out in force.
And everybody needs to be careful. It is horrible during especially because you had a long break, right? Some businesses will take off a week, maybe give it to employees after the Christmas, 23rd, 24th, through the end of the year. Right. And what happens is the individuals know that the IT group is a little bit lower, that you're not normally in an office. So if you're checking corporate email, you're going to probably have a chance of someone sending you something that's incorrect, that is a phishing attempt during that block time that you're going to be away from the office, and that they're hoping you just click on it so that they can then get access to you while nobody's really paying attention to the office type of deal, and then try to come on in and cause havoc to your company.
Exactly. And to that point, I don't think I think in the last 5 years, the 5 holiday season years, I don't think I have yet to see a year where I'm free from getting a frantic call for a data breach.
Yep. No, this is a busy time for us IT security people.
It really is.
It is. So this is our bread and butter time. So you know what? Click on that link. I should say it the other way. Yeah. Click on the link so you can. Please don't. All right. So we're going to need to end our segment. So where can we find out more information about you, Nick? If I'm trying to find more information, I want to contact you because I did click on a link during the holiday season. Where can I go to find out more information about you?
Yeah, feel free to connect to me or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, /Nick Espinoza, or on Twitter, it's Nick AESP. I'm also on YouTube /Nick Espinoza, and my radio show's on SoundCloud as well as my podcast and all that kind of stuff. So feel free to connect and hang out.
And subscribe to his Twitter feed so you get funny little jokes and inspirational information for the weekends. That's what I like to call it there. Nice. All right, Nick, thank you very much. I'm sure we'll have you on, maybe not the end of this year, so we may see you beginning of next year. We're excited, and have a safe and exciting holidays.
You too, guys.
Goodbye.
Happy New
All right,
Year.
thank you. All right, well, that ends our segment. When we return, we have the Nathan Nugget brought to us by StoriCoffee and Pick of the Day. This has been a great first hour. In our second hour, we have some even more informational items we're going to be talking about and our holiday gift list. This is if you want to buy technology, this is what you need to do. We're going to take our commercial break. I am Nathan Mumm. We'll see you after this break. Hey, Mike.
What?
Have you heard of elderberry?
Only in reference to a Monty Python movie.
Well, let me tell you, Elderberry Boost. Again, that's elderberry-boost.com.
Elderberry Boost.
Yes, Mike, that's Elderberry Boost.
You can choose organic Elderberry Boost, that 8-ounce size. That's available on sale right now at $11.99. But you're listening here right now on TechTime Radio, so you need to go to Elderberry. That's ELDERBERRY-boost.com and get some today.
Elderberry Boost.
Elderberry is an all-natural organic immune system booster and antiviral. Elderberry is known to actively fight against viruses, including colds and the flu. It also works as a natural remedy for allergies, cancer, digestion, heart disease, high cholesterol, headache, toothache, weight loss, and reduced inflammation.
It's a natural and healthy diuretic and has many antiviral properties. While it is famous for fighting the flu, it is effective for any illness.
Elderberry Boost was created to provide a quality organic elderberry to their customers. After searching years ago for a perfect elderberry syrup, none could be found, so they essentially created their own homemade recipe.
If you would like to get 15% off your first order of Elderberry Boost, just put in the discount code TechTime at checkout.
Again, that's elderberry-boost.com.
Elderberry Boost.
You go, hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, have you ever heard of Unidragon.com?
Have I ever heard of Unidragon.com?
Yes, Unidragon.com.
Why, yes, I have heard of Unidragon.com. That's the puzzle dude.
The puzzle dude, that's correct. He has tons of puzzles, and of course, he is the best and original wooden puzzles.
You have owls.
Guess what is the #1 best-selling puzzle?
The owl.
Do you think you had anything to do with that?
No, everybody loves owls.
Well, right now, you can get 40% off in stock if you go to unidragon.com/products/enchanting owl. You need to make sure you get yours today. Now, they also have 2 to 6 days for shipping. You can domestically ship within the United States. They have a great customer support. If you ever have any questions regarding your puzzle, except for how to put it together, you can email them at care@unidragon.com. If you want to get 10% off, you can use our code DRAGONTECH. Again, that's Dragon, DRAGON, Tech, TECH, for a 10% off discounts. Now, if you want the original, go to unidragon.com. Beware of fakes. Only get your wooden puzzles at unidragon.com.
Get them all.
This is your Nugget of the Week.
All right, Ubisoft's NFT non-fungible tokens announced a video that has overwhelming dislike. Ubisoft Quartz was revealed a few days ago, and folks do not like it. It seems like only yesterday when we reported the Ubisoft's plans to capitalize on the NFT trend, and now what are they doing? They are essentially coming on out with the worst thing to do for an NFT. Using a Chrome extension to restore the YouTube dislikes, which I've done, you can see that the video that they sent out on the Ubisoft Quartz has received over 31,000 dislikes and just over 1,000 likes. Wow. Ubisoft's only announcement was that they will have more information coming regarding the NFT product. Now, let me tell you what the video shows. The video shows an NFT that they consider the code name as digits. So they call it digits. And essentially, it shows gears of pants, helmets, and guns. And it's the same exact NFT, but they're just different numbers. So if I have a helmet, so here's an NFT. I have a helmet. Let's say I got a helmet of my favorite football team. Yeah. But then this, again, is in a shooting game called Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which is a horrible game to begin with. They decided to put this in. But essentially, it's the same picture of the helmet, but instead of it just being uniquely different, it has 001, 002, 003, 004. So really,
they missed it. They didn't understand what the rules were.
No, they didn't, because for NFTs, it shouldn't be the same picture. It should be everything should be unique.
Yep.
All right. So Ubisoft, it's clear, has not done what NFT should be doing, but essentially it's doing the thing that nobody wants to have done, and essentially created the same pictures and just decided to serialize them and think that
who
would
cares?
What a disgrace. What a disgrace. All right. Well, now we're going to move to our pick of the day. Corey, we had the Warrior Sugar Baby Bourbon, Washington State. What a thumbs up if you liked it.
I'm giving a thumbs up.
Thumbs up. I will give it a thumbs up also. That's 2 thumbs up. So our whiskey of the day, congratulations, 2 thumbs up. Now on our second hour we have coming on up, we have our Tech Time Holiday 2021 Holiday Guide wish list. You're going to want to listen to this and open phone calls for all of you that are listening and waiting on the calls. We'll get to you next hour. I'm Nathan Mumm. See you next hour.
Thanks for joining us on Tech Time Radio. We hope that you had a chance to have that moment today in technology. The fun doesn't stop there. We recommend that you go to techtimeradio.com and join our fan list for the most important aspect of staying connected and winning some really great monthly prizes. We also have a few other ways to stay connected, including subscribing to our podcast on any podcast service, from Apple to Google and everything in between. We're also on YouTube, so check us out on youtube.com/techtimeradio, all one word. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did making it for you. From all of us at Tech Time Radio, remember, Mumm's the word. Have a safe and fantastic week.